Dan Illman, David Aragona, race number 11 at Belmont Park on Saturday is the Grade 3 Victory Ride Stakes. This is for three-year-old fillies going 6.5 furlongs on the main track. Let's take a peek at this field. And Maple Leaf Mel, the number 5, is David's 9-5 morning line favorite. David, she's flawless from 4 starts. She hasn't been headed. She's got big early speed. And now she's going to make her first start for a new trainer who used to be her assistant trainer.
Yeah, also the namesake of Maple Leaf Mel, and not a huge change there, even though it looks like a trainer change on paper. As you said, Melanie Giddings has been involved with this horse since her debut, and she's a horse who has been very impressive in all 4 starts, but this is a serious class test. This did not come up an easy spot at all for a Grade 3.
And it will be very interesting to see if the number 2 Dazzling Blue can keep Maple Leaf Mel occupied in the early portion of this race. As we see from our Timeform US pace projector, you note the little red bar, which indicates Timeform US believes this race could be run at a fast clip. We know that Maple Leaf Mel is going to be out there on the lead. Can Dazzling Blue, a horse that didn't break great last time out, but then rushed up and won yet again, this is a horse that's flawless as well. She's never been headed.
Yeah, I think the pace and how much pressure Maple Leaf Mel gets will really depend on that start for Dazzling Blue, because it wasn't just last time. It's twice in a row now that she's broken a step slowly and had to rush up. Clearly a horse that has a ton of early speed, but against a field like this, you have to break cleanly if you're going to be in front of Maple Leaf Mel to that first quarter.
Now, there's a chance, as Timeform US indicates, that this pace could really heat up. Note the LP flag over the number 3 Vava. That means that Vava has the fastest late pace rating, according to Timeform US. We can expect her to be kicking strongly in the stretch. The number 1 Interpolate's another horse that could be running on late. She won the Ruthless 2 starts back, and then she caught a pretty good 3-year-old filly sprinter in Key of Life in this race. This is the Beaumont going the about 7/8 at Keeneland. And Key of Life tried to spurt away from this field through a pretty strong second quarter, and I give Interpolate some credit for not losing that much ground on the turn, but it looks like Key of Life is crying out for the wire, and Interpolate has all the momentum, and somehow she just can't get by.
Yeah, watching this race live and watching it again now, it just feels like at some point she's supposed to stick her head in front, but she's just never able to do so, hanging a little bit at the end as Key of Life probably dug in to beat her. But Key of Life just ran the better race that day because, like you said, she was involved in that fast pace, and Interpolate had everything go her way, couldn't quite get the job done. She still got a 91 buyer, which makes her very competitive here, and this is another race where she's supposed to get some pace to close into. So even though she didn't get the job done last time, you could make the argument that she fits this race pretty well.
Dazzling Blue, 3 for 3 in her career, needs to break alertly or else she's going to be rushing up into what likely is a very fast pace and a very good pace setter. Dazzling Blue was a stakes winner 2 starts back at the fairgrounds. This is going to be her strongest class quiz to date. From a buyer speed figure standpoint, she's got some work to do.
Yeah, Buyers, Timeform US speed figures. She doesn't quite stack up against this field. I know that she's generated some buzz. She's been visually impressive winning her races, especially last time when she drew off by almost 9 lengths to beat that allowance field. This is a horse that I kind of hope takes a lot of money in this race because I just don't really see it with her. I know that she's got strong connections and pedigree, but that tendency to break slowly, the slow speed figures, I'm just really concerned about her handling the step up in class.
There are things to like about the number 3 Vava at a price. She's likely going to get the right setup. All of her sprint races are very good. And the only time she tried graded stakes company, they were going 2 turns, a distance that's probably too far for her. And it doesn't help when you're against the best 3-year-old filly in the country, Pretty Mischievous. She's coming into this race, I think, under the radar, and you made her a nice price at 8-1. And I think she's probably going to go around that price.
Yeah, there are horses coming into this race with reputations, and she's probably not really one of them. I mean, even though she has talent, I mean, she showed it as a 2-year-old when she broke her maiden impressively, going 7 furlongs at Churchill, blew the start of that untappable when she actually ran pretty well to be 3rd. But like you said, I think turning back in distance really was the key for her in the last couple of races. I liked her victory last time over Undervalued Asset, who was a nice horse for Chad Brown, and she's supposed to get the right kind of pace setup.
Annalisa Smile is going to be a big price in this race, as she was in her one prior start against graded competition, the Forward Gal at Gulfstream, where she made no waves against Red Carpet Ready. They dropped her back into a first level allowance against some older horses here at Belmont, and she's rolling to the outside right now. She got wired in this race, but she has a look at it, David. She gets beat ahead. She obviously has to do a little bit more against this tougher group.
Yeah, she looks pretty tough to make in this spot, but I've got to be honest, I thought the same thing about her last time, and she almost got the job done against what looked like a much tougher field of older New York breds. I mean, Collie Magic and Cupid's Heart, they're not bad horses that she finished right between, but this still feels like another step up in class. I guess the one positive you can say is that if the pace does heat up, she's another that can be running late.
Maple Leaf Mel, a good New York bred, faced open company for the first time in the Miss Preakness, including the aforementioned Key of Life, who beat Interpolate, and there were no problems for Maple Leaf Mel at all. She used her good early speed. She got away from this group in the stretch. She sprinted on home. It was nice to see L Street Lady, the third place finisher, come back and win a stakes race up in New York. Joel Rosario fits this one very, very well. She's going to be on the lead, barring a disastrous break.
Yeah, she's supposed to be in front of this field, especially if her main pace rival is a little tardy from the starting gate. She's just way the horse to beat in this race, but she's garnering this big reputation. She's winning so impressively, geared down. Horses like that, they just tend to attract more and more steam and go off at shorter and shorter prices. And this is a really tough race. It's a big class test for every single one of the fillies in this field. And when you go through it, I mean, the best horse that she's ever beaten in her career is Topsy, who's one of the long shots in this race. So I think she still has some things to prove, though I do think she's the most likely winner.
Downtown Mischief, the number 6, is a New York bred, perfect 4-for-4 sprinting in her career. The only loss came when they tried to stretch her ability to a one-turn mile. Here's her most recent race. They got her back in against New York breds. Now, this was a race, David, where they ran basically 1-2 all the way around the track in a short field. So it's a pretty big step up in class for Downtown Mischief. And from a pace standpoint, I'm not sure she's as fast, and she likes to be up close to the pace. I'm not sure she's as fast as the likes of Maple Leaf Mel and Dazzling Blue.
I would agree with that. It just feels like she's going to be on the chase in this race against horses that are probably a little better than what she's been facing. She's a nice one. I mean, she's been running solid speed figures from the start for New York bred, but against open company, this just feels like a tall order for her.
We saw the number 7 Topsy rally for second behind Maple Leaf Mel in the Miss Preakness. She has run in the interim. That was in the Leslie's Lady at Ellis Park over sloppy track, and she ran okay that day to be second. Maybe she has the right running style for this race if it is a fast pace. I thought her Miss Preakness was a promising up performance, although Maple Leaf Mel I thought was better than she was. I can see her maybe sneak into the exotics at a price.
Yeah, when you watch that Miss Preakness, it looks like a bigger close on paper than it does when you watch the replay, because Maple Leaf Mel was kind of getting geared down at the end as Topsy was making up some ground on her. And I wanted to see a little bit more out of her last time, though maybe she didn't appreciate that sloppy track at Ellis. The winner of that race is one that appears to be moving forward at the right time. So she's not impossible here. She's going to be a big price and would do well if the pace heats up.
And completing the field is a quality filly in her own right, a multiple graded stakes winner. The number 8, Red Carpet Ready, going out for trainer Rusty Arnold. Now, we haven't seen Red Carpet Ready since Derby week in the grade 2 8 bells. And the filly she beat that day, Money's Gold, came into that race with a big, big reputation. And Red Carpet Ready was chasing her on the outside, and she just got the better of Money's Gold during a pretty determined stretch battle. We haven't seen her since that race, due to a scratch, due to a race cancellation. She's going to have to do this off the layoff, but from this good attack outside post, I just think Louis Size is going to have her on a perfect 3-wide tracking trip.
Yeah, I mean, Maple Leaf Mel is garnering the headlines in this race, but there's an argument that Red Carpet Ready has faced the best horses and is coming in with some of the best form of anybody in this field. Her race against Money's Gold last time in the 8 bells was a really hard-fought effort, and I actually don't mind that she's gotten a bit of a layoff since then, because that was a really gritty performance to beat that horse. And Louis Saez rode her that day almost like it was a 6-furlong race, and he just hoped to hang on for the last furlong, because he rode that race like he had to beat Money's Gold, and he did so. She's got a big kick coming off the quarter pole, and if she can make that move on Maple Leaf Mel at that point in the race, it's potential that she could spurt away from the favorite. So she's definitely a major contender in this race.
Now, you made the case for me as we take a look at our top selections for the victory ride. I'm going to go with Red Carpet Ready in here, but I like what you're thinking. Vava might get the right setup. All the sprint races are good, and I think there are some folks that are just going to look at the page and say they've tried her twice against graded stakes competition. It didn't work out. She's not this good. It's a different game going 2 turns against Pretty Mischievous and as a late running sprinter in a race full of pace.
Yeah, Vava probably not the most naturally gifted horse in this race, but I just think the trip could work out for her because even though we didn't really talk about Red Carpet Ready with regard to the pace situation, at least for the first quarter mile, I feel like Louis Size is going to attack Maple Leaf Mel at some point in this race, and maybe that could open things up for a closer.
3, 8, 5, and 1 for David. I'll go 8, 1, 5, and 7 in the Grade 3 victory ride, part of a super Saturday card at Belmont. Best of luck.